Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development. And we're going to take a look at the Saturday card at Gulfstream, and it's a good one. Bunch of stakes races. 4 graded stakes make up their late pick 4. And we will jump right in with the 11th race. It's the Grade 3 Canadian Turf. These are 4-year-olds and up going a mile on the turf, which means a short run to that first turn down at Gulfstream. And who did you land on here, Mr. Goodman?
I landed on a bunch of them. I thought this race was not quite as wide open as the next one, but I thought it was, you can make a case for a lot of horses in here. I'd say the favorite here, in my opinion, is a horse, the 3-horse called Krampus for Mike Tomlinson. Just got the horse from Belmont, and this horse won this race last year. 2 for 7 at Gulfstream. Probably needed that last race at Gulfstream in an optional claimer. There's no way the horse was cranked. I think they had this in their sights all along, and I think that I would take Krampus as a win bet. Also going to use Hey Dakota coming off a win on a $62,000 claimer that was obviously a prep for this race. Hembry for Mike Maker was really good last year at Saratoga and needed the last race at Tampa. And then Mr. Dumas, the 7 for Mike Maker, also first time off the claim and first time as a trainer. He didn't claim it, but horse ran in the Hollywood Derby last time out and then won the Commonwealth Turf at Churchill back in November. So this horse is for real. And Gadoo for Todd Pletcher from the 9-hole, ran second on Tropical Turf last time out at Gulfstream. So I'm going to go 5 deep when we get to the pick 4, but Krampus would be my win pick here if you made me pick one.
Yeah, we'll go deep when we get to the pick 4 as well. I ended up taking a shot on Sombaye, which is a Pletcher horse also. First start since August was on the turf at Gulfstream and ran a 94 buyer. And Flavian Pratt rides the turf as well as anybody, and he takes the mount on this horse, which I thought was an intriguing angle. So I'm going to go there for a win pick, but I'm going to go deep. I like Mr. Dumas making his first start for the Maker Barn. Hey Dakota. If you like somebody, you got to like Hey Dakota. English B, I think, as much out of anything is respect for Graham Motion, Krampus, and I may throw in Caribou Club, and I could be talked into all if the budget permitted for this one, because I think this is really wide open, and I'm going to discount the outside post positions just because of that short run to the first turn, and take the win pick for me on Sombaye, the 5. 12th race is the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Mile, 4-year-olds and up going a flat mile, which is 1 turn on the dirt, and that's significant because I think it's Hog Creek Hustle right between the eyes. I think 7 furlongs or a mile is the best for this horse, and he often ends up having to run 6 furlongs, and they've tried him 2 turns a few times, but he's run a flat mile 1 time, and that was in the Pat Day mile last year at Churchill, and he wasn't beaten much as the runner-up, and he's working well. And I think it's noteworthy that Tyler Gaffleone, as this horse comes over to run in South Florida, takes the ride. And he's one of the top riders there at Gulfstream. So Vicky Foley gets Gaffleone in the saddle on Hog Creek Hustle here. So I'm going to key off that horse. He's run second more than he's run first, so that's a little bit of a concern. But I'm going to make him a win pick, but mainly key him in exactas. I like Bodie Express. Liked him last time and didn't have the greatest of post positions and threw in the towel. But I like the cutback from 1 1/8 miles. I think this flat mile might be really good for him. Fat Man ran a nice race last time, got a triple-digit buyer. If he can come back to that, he's a player. Mr. Freeze for Romans, I'm going to use. I've taken him a couple of times in recent starts, and he's run well against some good competition. And there are others I could go to. I'm going to stop there when we get to my pick 4. But this is not an easy one to narrow down either. How about you?
No, I went a little further than you did. I actually wrote down a ticket at the beginning of this process when it's all, and I couldn't afford it. So I cut the first race down to 5, but I'm going to take all here because I couldn't get it down past 7 horses. And I think you can make a case for all those horses that you mentioned, plus Rare Form. Pratt's riding that for Romans, and that's a Romans other horse. I think Mr. Freeze has a big shot, but I think Rare Form has a shot as well. Ran right behind Fat Man and Zendon last time out. Those two have a shot. Expert, one that you didn't mention, for Junior Alvarado, comes in off a 99 buyer at Belmont, and very consistent horse. Fat Man, Bodie Express. Bodie Express is going to get a lot of money, but that 0 for 6 at Gulfstream scares me. His 2 best wins were at Gulfstream West, Old Calder. So he hasn't come back as well, but this distance ought to suit him better than where he's been running. So I'm going wide open here. I'm not going to even make a win pick. If you made me, I'd say maybe Fat Man or possibly Mr. Freeze. But I'm going to go all. We'll go to pick 4.
All right, that gets us to the Grade 2 Mac d'Armida. If that's D'Armida, I've heard it pronounced many different things over the years. It's a long turf race, 1 mile and 3/8, and you got Zulu Alpha is going to be a pretty strong favorite in here off that great race he ran last time with a 105 buyer. Can you beat him?
No, since I don't have any money left because I've gone so deep, I got to go single here. It scares me a little bit because he got a really nice trip last time out, but Gaffleon got him over to the rail and just had a perfect rail trip and came right up through and won fairly easily at Grade 1 in the Pegasus World Cup turf at 11-1. Had a really nice price. I think you gave him out that day too, and it was a great win for him. He's going to be a big favorite here, and he's got to work out another trip because he doesn't have much early speed. But Gaffleon suits him well, and he obviously loves the track. He's 3 for 4. I think all signs point to Zulu Alpha here. If you went any deeper, you got to use Channel Maker and Sadler's Joy just off back class. Neither one of them ran great in their last race in the turf. Pegasus turf, Sadler's Joy didn't make as big a run as Zulu Alpha, obviously, and then Channel Maker didn't run that well in the Breeders' Cup turf. But he had some time off, runs well fresh. The last time he had a long layoff, he ran a 105 buyer and then ran a war in a Grade 1. So Channel Maker's got a big shot too. But I'm going to take a stand here with Zulu Alpha. Hopefully he keeps it going this time.
I'm in the same boat as you are as far as ticket structure on a pick 4. I'm going to go so deep in other races that I would single Zulu Alpha here. I would say if you are not going as deep as we are in some of these races, then and you can go a horse or 2 deeper in this race. Channel Maker just on back class I like a lot because the 5 hole I think is good, and going this long distance you can still get some 3 turns and you can get a wide trip. So and Sadler's Joy is he makes a run but just doesn't get there so often that I'm going to take a stand against him. Admission Office could be a really nice price, and I just think there's a big race in there for this horse at some point. We haven't seen it yet, so you could really shop for a price and take a swing there. But I'm going to single Zulu Alpha just like you are off that last race. 14th race, the last one of the day, is the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth for 3-year-olds at 1 mile and 1/16. Dennis's Moment is going to be the favorite in here, making his 3-year-old debut for the Romans barn. He was dismal in that Breeders' Cup effort. Maybe there were excuses. I'm going to try to beat him with Country Grammar for Chad Brown. This horse broke his maiden at 1 mile and 1/8 in the second lifetime start. You don't see that often. Got a nice 79 buyer, and then they put him away at that point. Bring him back in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. And, for 3-year-olds, there's other allowance spots that Chad Brown could have found for this horse to ease him back into a 3-year-old race. So it's one of 2 things. Either he is really confident in this horse and making a bold move here, or they got behind in some form or fashion and they didn't have time for the allowance race. They needed to go ahead and try to get points. So it's probably one of those 2. I'm going to take the former, that they think he's ready to fire a big one off the bench and jump into the Derby consideration. So off that 1 mile and 1/8 win in the second lifetime start, he certainly ought to be a horse that should like the 1 mile and 1/4. So I'm going to take Country Grammar for a bit of an upset. Got to use Dennis's Moment. As seen on TV for Kelly Breen, I really liked last time that 98 buyer. Chance It ran a nice race as well, but I don't like the 12 hole. But just on the chance that he could come back to that last race, and we'll use him too. And then the 1 comes off a maiden win, and normally I wouldn't take horses coming off maiden wins in this spot, but the one I picked was Chad Brown, and this one's Todd Pletcher. And so, those guys make bold moves sometimes, and it pays off. So Candy Tycoon you could throw in there as well. How do you see the Fountain of Youth?
I see it similar to you. Dennis's Moment, to me, is a vulnerable favorite here. he's either going to run off the board or he's going to win by 5. I don't think there's any in between. If he's as good as he was last year, his maiden win at Ellis, and then the follow up with the Iroquois, he had a terrible start. He almost went to his knees in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Just lost all chance at the start. He was 4-5 in a Grade 1. So he was the big favorite. He was the hot horse, and then it just he had no chance after the start. They haven't brought him back, but this is a logical spot for him. I don't think it's too tough, and I think Dennis's Moment obviously has a big shot to win, but I'm not going to single him. I'm going to, as seen on TV, is probably my top pick. I'm going to look at that Mucho Macho Man last time out. He gets beat ahead by Chance It. He's in the 6th hole and Chance It's in the 12th hole, and that's worth at least 2 or 3 links. And there's a chance that, no pun intended, but there's a chance that Chance It will scratch. Joseph was interviewed yesterday on TVG, and he's considering scratching because of the post. And if he's considering that, I'm going to toss him. I'm going to say he can't win from the 12 hole. So as seen on TV, though, we ran right with him last time. He's in the 6th hole, which is perfect for him. So I think he's got a big shot. I am going to use one of the outside horses, and it's just because Patrick Biancone has been hot down there, and Etienne Indian with Giroux. Giroux went down there to work this horse Wednesday morning and stayed around to ride a horse for Biancone in the afternoon. So he's riding this one in the Fountain of Youth, and he's riding the other horse next week in the Tampa Bay Derby. So Giroux and Biancone, I'm just taking a shot there, and that horse is going to be a good price. So I'm going to go 3 deep. Dennis's Moment would be my logical pick, but I think as seen on TV has a huge shot for Kelly Breen.
All right, Jim, now let's do our pick 4 tickets. What does yours look like for races 11 through 14 at Gulfstream?
It's heavy at the beginning and light at the end. So I've got the 5 horses that we talked about in the Canadian Turf. Hey Dakota the 1, Caribou Club the 2, Krampus the 3, Hembry the 4, and the 9 horse Gadoo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Second leg, just take them all. 11 horses as they all go. In the 13th race, which is the Mac Diamarta, Single Zulu Alpha, the 6 horse. And then the Fountain of Youth, I'm going 3 deep with Dennis's Moment the 5, as seen on TV the 6, and Etienne Indian the 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 with all, with 6, with 5, 6, 11. That costs you $82.50.
I'm going to go with the single in the same ratio as we mentioned earlier. I'm going to open up, though, with 6 in the first leg. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. Going the deepest in that Canadian Turf. I'm going to do 1, 3, 9, 11 in the Gulfstream Park Mile. Then Single Zulu Alpha, the 6, and then 1, 5, 6, 7, 12 in the Fountain of Youth for a $60 ticket. And best of luck. It's a tough late pick 4 because, like you, I'm not 100% sold on singling Zulu Alpha, but had to take a stand somewhere to keep the ticket from going into triple digits. So it's a tough card. Best of luck. It's quite a day on Saturday because you've got the racing starting around 8 a.m. Eastern time from Saudi Arabia, with culminating with the $20 million Saudi Cup. That's
right. We're opening up at 8 o'clock, and you can bet all the races there. And the last race is a $20 million race with we'll see how the American horses do on the Saudi dirt. They've done well at Dubai, so this is a new experience for them. And Maximum Security is going to be the big favorite there, but we got 5 or 6 other American horses in the race.
So that's early on Saturday Eastern time, and then you can play throughout the day at Gulfstream or other spots around the country through Keeneland Select if you can't get out to a local simulcasting facility. Best of luck on the late pick 4 at Gulfstream or whatever else you are playing on Saturday. And we'll be back next week, another Derby prep that we'll be talking about from Tampa Bay, I'm sure, here on the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.